Okay, so today's assignment is completing a performance task in preparation for the SBAC. It's called Your Family Reunion, and it's in your math page, and it's a CAMI assignment. So here we are in CAMI. Um, so whenever you're taking a performance task, you want to take a look at the entirety of it. You want to look over the different pages. So let's just read this first part together and then we'll look at all the tasks we have to do. It says, your extended family has decided to host a family reunion. You are in charge of researching catering companies to provide a barbecue meal. Oh, good. Your family anticipates there will be no more than 70 people attending the reunion. If in your research, you find there are two different companies available, Benny's Barbecue and Smoky Joe's Barbecue. Since the number of attendees is uncertain, the table below, uh, in order to use the table below to estimate the cost of serving Benny's Barbecue at the reunion. So they're asking us, here's the information for Benny's $100 catering fee and $12.50 per person. And then we want to fill the table, come up with an equation, and give a verbal description. And then there's some questions. Okay. Then it continues. It says, complete the table below to estimate the cost to feed your family from Smoky Joe's. And there's information about Smoky Joe's. They just charge $15 per person. And the same thing, an equation, verbal description, and some questions. And then looks like we have to do some graphing. And from what I can see, you have to graph both Benny's Barbecue and Smoky Joe's Barbecue. Okay. So you always want to get an idea of what the entire task is. So let's get started. So let's start with a number of people. How many spaces did they give us? 8. And remember they said up to 70 people? So I'm going to fill this in. Um, Maybe 18 would be a good size. And we're going to put in the number of people. I know it sounds silly, but we have to consider 0 people, especially for this one. 0 people. Okay. The other thing is I don't like that purple there. So 0 people. And then why don't we go up by counting by tens? How does that sound? So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. Oops. It's not evenly spaced, but we got them all in quickly. Now we have to basically do the process, basically figure out for this many people what it would be. So what are we paying? What are we paying for Benny's Barbecue? We're paying a catering fee, right? And that's $100 plus 12.50 per person. Well, how many people do we have now? 0. So that would just be $100. That would just be $100. You're just paying the catering fee. You pay the catering fee once, and then every person it's going to be $12.50. So let's figure this out for the next round for 10 people. Oh, so it's going to be 1250 times 10 people. And let's see how much money that would be. So this is a good time to use your calculator. That would be what? 225? Someone check my math there. Okay. So yeah, it's 1250 times 10. That's 125 plus the 100. Okay. So now we're going to do $100 plus 1250 times 20. Let's see how much that would be. So let's do the math for that. How much would that be? Is that 350? Okay, we're on a roll. Okay, 100 plus 1250 times 30. Okay, and that's going to be 475. Okay, 100 plus 1250 times 40. I believe that's an even 600. Okay. And so this is going to be for 50 people. 750? No, wait. 725. Okay. 100 plus 1250 times 60. And that would be 850, I believe. $100 plus 1250 times 70. And well, how much is that going to be? That would be 975. Okay. So we finished our table. We're going to need that. Let's go back up here and come up with an equation, just a general equation for any number of people. So any number of people. So you give me how many people, and we'll figure out how much it would cost to hire Benny's Barbecue. So we can either use X and Y, or we can use, some more descriptive. So what do you want to use, X and Y or some other variables? Let's decide now, guys. What do you think? Okay, let's use X and Y. So Y is going to be the total cost. And then we have to figure out how we calculate the total cost. And it's right here. It's basically what we did here. So what should we have? 12.50x. So x is going to be the number of people. And then we do have something to add to that, right? The $100. So there is an equation. Now we basically just have to break down that equation and describe it. Let's start the total cost uh, for Benny's BBQ is 12.50 per person plus a $100 catering fee. Okay. All right. Um, all right. Something like that. You just want to rephrase what they told you here, down here. Um, what does the initial point or y-intercept represent in Benny's barbecue? Okay. Which of these numbers is our y-intercept, the 1250 or the 100? Mhm. The 1250 would be our rate. Think of that as kind of like your slope. Remember, the y-intercept is constant. It never changes. The 1250, you're multiplying it with something, so it's a constantly changing rate. The 100 is going to be our y-intercept. So what does it represent? Mhm. What's the $100? What does it tell us the $100 is? Yeah, it's the catering fee. And you only pay that once. And do you notice that when it was 0 people, you had to pay that already? So yeah, the you could say initial point or y-intercept. I like y-intercept. Represents the catering fee that is paid only once. Describe the rate of change or for Benny's barbecue, and um, and what if and what it represents in the context of the situation. Okay, so we already talked about it. One, what does it? What does the rate represent? It's not the $100. It's the 1250. What is that? It's the cost per person. let's say the rate is 12.50 and it represents the cost per person. Would this relationship best be described as proportional or non-proportional? You know how we can tell? I know that we didn't cover it too much. Do we have an actual number for the y-intercept? Do we have an actual number for the y-intercept? Yes. So if you have an actual number other than 0, then it's not proportional. If it would have just been y equals 1250x and that's all, it would have been proportional. Proportional means it's linear, but it goes through the origin. It goes through 0. Okay? So this is non-proportional. We just leave it at that. Okay, so we did this part together. Now I'm going to leave you to work on Smoky Joe's. Okay, notice they don't have a catering fee. It's just $15 per person. So follow the model, follow what we did for Benny's barbecue, and I'm going to leave you to continue working on the rest of it. Okay? All right. So when you're doing Smoky Joe's, the table for Smoky Joe's, you probably, for the number of people, you want to use the same numbers you did for Benny's barbecue. So over here, you want to do 0, 10, 20, all the way to 70 again. Okay? And then you're going to make, on the same graph, you're going to record the number of people on the x-axis and the cost on the y-axis. And you want to make two separate lines with different colors. One for Benny's barbecue and one for Smoky Joe's.